everyone, Lexy Gavin here, and today is part 2 of the student hand review of an online MTT. So a little while ago, I did the early and the middle stages of the tournament, and now we're going to cover the later stages. So without further ado, let's jump into the hands. Okay, so here we have the late stages of the tournament. The blinds are 2K, 4K with a 400 ante, 6-handed, and hero is on the button with pocket sevens. Folds to her, and she min raises to 8K. Now, normally with 19 big blinds to start the hand, I love min raising the button. I think that pocket sevens is a little bit too much to just open ship at 19 big blinds. So I do like that she thought to min raise. However, if I don't think she noticed how short the blinds are. The small blind only has 2 big blinds behind, and the big blind has 6 big blinds. So for that reason, she should just open shove the button rather than min raise. But like I said, if the small and big blind had deeper stacks, then I'd say min raising the button is good. But she should be shoving here. Instead, the small blind decides to shove, and obviously she's calling it off here. So yeah, I think that she should have just shoved the button, but hopefully it worked out for her. Here we have pocket aces in the cutoff, folds to the hero. She raises to 10K, started the hand with 24 big blinds. The blinds are 2,500, 5,000. And she min raises here. I absolutely love this. I definitely think it would be too much to open rip, and she definitely wants to I think that she has a lot of min raises in her range here in the cutoff, so she's not going to get very much credit. I think that if the button or the blinds know poker at all, they should know that she is min raising a standard range in the cutoff here. So she is super disguised, and it folds around to the big blind. The big blind calls. And the flop is 8-4-6 with 2 hearts, checks to her, and she decides to c-bet. I definitely like a c-bet here. I think that the fact that she doesn't block any of the draws is a great reason to c-bet. Also, the big blind is going to connect with this texture. And at 22 big blinds effective, the big blind is going to have a lot of check shoves here, which I like. I think that the big blind can check shove all of his flush draws, straight draws, a hand like 7-9, and even some one pair hands like King 8 suited or something, or 8-7 suited, 8-9 suited. I definitely see him check shoving just because of his stack depth, right? I think that it would just be it's too hard to play as a check call if he had a one pair hand here. Because of his stack depth. And I think that the cutoff here is going to be c-betting this board with a pretty wide range here. So because the cutoff can also connect with this board as well. So I do think that we are going to get some check shoves from the big blind, which is why I do like her c-betting. However, if I were her, I would have chosen a smaller sizing. The reason for this is because she wants to appear to the big blind that if the big blind did check shove, that the big blind would have fold equity, right? Like when she's betting 17K into a pot of 25K, she's kind of saying like, I got something, like, let's go. So I think that if she had bet like maybe like 5K or 6K, that the big blind would check shove some of his bluffs, maybe a hand like Queen Jack of Diamonds. I could see him like check shoving here. He could also float Queen Jack of Diamonds, so maybe that's not the best example, but maybe he had it like King Queen with the King of Hearts that he could be like check shoving as a bluff here. So I think she should go a little bit smaller, and she got the fold. Yeah, the problem with going so big also is if he did not connect with this, then he is going to have a hard time calling. Like if she went smaller, he might call with some floats, like a hand like Queen Jack of Diamonds, and So yeah, she's kind of just forcing him to play pretty honestly here. And if he had a 4, maybe he had a hand like King 4 suited, that hand might fold to a 17K bet. So let's take a look at another one of her hands. So here she has pocket 7s. She is 26 big blinds effective. She has pocket 7s under the gun at 2,500 5K with a 500 ante. She is very similar in stacks. Actually, everyone has roughly the same stack size. So she min raises to 10K. I definitely like this. If this were a 9-handed game or a 10-handed game, I could see her folding pocket 7s at 26 big blind stack depth. I mean, it's just, I know it's a pair. It seems like a decently strong pair, but in reality, under the gun, 9-handed, it's at 25, 20, 26 big blinds. It's just too hard to play in a multi-way situation. Like, you're just hoping to hit a set. And if you don't hit a set, then pretty much every other board is bad for you. Like a board like Deuce 5, 6 would be decent, but even so, like you could just, I mean, if you open and then you get multiple callers, like you still don't necessarily want to bloat a pot with pocket 7s, into a multi-way situation. So I think at 6-handed, definitely open. At 9-handed, you can consider folding. So we get a call from the button and a call from the big blind, and she flops bottom set. This is beautiful. Checks to her, and she bets 10K into 35.5. I like this C-bet for sure. I think she could have gone a little bit bigger just because it is a very wet texture, and but at the same time, she isn't that deep. So like I think 10K is okay. I probably would have gone maybe like a little bit bigger, maybe like 12 and a half, 13,000 maybe. So she goes 10K. She gets a call from the button and the big blind. And the turn is a 10, not the best card. I definitely think both the button and the big blind can have a lot of 9 combos. I think that they can have a hand like Jack 9, certainly 9, 10, 8, 9, things like that. So she definitely should probably check at this point. But she decides to bet 38,000 here. I don't know how I feel about this. I think that I would probably, if I were her, just check, hope that the button checks back, and then hopefully she realizes her full house equity on the river. And if not, hopefully just checks around and they just have like 2 pair or a pair or something. Like, I think that if she bets here, that she's going to fold out a lot of like top pairs like Queen Jack, Ace Jack, King Jack, things like that. And if and same thing with like 2 pairs, like if they had a 2 pair hand like Jack 8 or 8 10 or 7 8 or something, like I can see them checking back. But if she bets and gets raised off her hand, then like she's not good, and she's just leaving herself 14 big blinds behind, which if she got raised, I don't know, it'd be close. Like, could consider calling it off. I think she might have to call it off, actually. So I think just check. Hopefully the button checks back, and they both wound up folding. So that was really lucky. I think that her hand is just too strong. It's as if she's turning her hand into a bluff here by betting the turn. But it worked out for her. So let's check out another hand. Okay, so here she has ace queen off in the cutoff, 32 big blinds effective, and the under the gun player min raises to 10K, and she min raises him to 20K. So I do like the 3-bet here, but if I were her, I would have gone a little bit bigger. I don't like min raising here. She's just kind of giving him such good incentive to call with any 2 cards. Like, pretty much if I open a hand and I get 3-bet to a min raise, I call with 100% of my range. I never fold to just a min raise pre-flop. Like, if you're at the tables with me in the future and you have a hand that you want to just sweeten the pot with, just like min raise me and I will call every time. And same thing with a lot of other pros. If you give pros a good price, they're never going anywhere. So ace queen is a hand that you definitely want to 3-bet for value, but you don't want to just make it an auto call. So I would have gone a little bit bigger, somewhere around 2.6x his bet, something like that. So this is the flop, under the gun checks, and she c-bets here. I like that she's going small. I definitely like that she's going small. I think that I think that she can check behind too, and then possibly call a turn bet. But I do also think that because the under the gun player was getting such a good price to call with any two pre-flop, that he doesn't necessarily have something super strong. If he did, I think he would have 4-bet a lot of his strong range. So I think that this narrows the under the guns player range. Like, I don't think he's got too many ace king combos, and she blocks king queen. Of course, he can wake up with king queen sometimes, but she blocks it, which I like. So if he had a hand like jacks, queens, kings, or aces, ace king, things like that, I think would have 4-bet pre-flop. So I do think she should c-bet, and if she is betting 10K into 50K, I do think she should continue on a lot of turns, because I think the under the gun player is going to call a lot of, like, she's only going 1/5 pot. I think that she's just going to incentivize him to float a lot. So by betting 10K on the flop, I think she's going to have to continue on a lot of turns. She could also check the flop, call a bet on the turn, or if he checks it again, then delay c-bet on the turn. I think that would also be fine. So 9 of spades rolls, and she checks back. Check. So again, like I said, I probably would have fired again, maybe something like 25K. But she checks back, and the 10 rolls on the river. Check, and he has jacks, which is interesting. I think he probably could have 4-bet this pre-flop. But if she has only been 3-betting with her strong hands this tournament, then I could see the under the gun player flatting more pre-flop. But if she is 3-betting with a correct polarized range, then I think that he should be 4-betting this at some frequency. So yeah, that's just kind of why I think that she should continue on the turn. He probably would have called another straight on the turn if she did bet. So I guess it's good that she did. And I guess she kind of lost the minimum that she possibly could have by min raising pre-flop and only betting 10K on the turn, on the flop. But I think if she maybe like put in a big bet here on the river, that she might have gotten some folds. But yeah, it's all good. So let's check out another hand. Okay. So here she has pocket eights in the hijack. She is 22 big blinds effective. They are at 3K, 6K with a 6K ante. She min raises. I like it. And the big blind calls. Queen, 10, check. She checks. Okay. I think she should be c-betting here. I think that a c-bet for value would be good. And I do think that the big blind can have some floats here. Like if the big blind had any kind of backdoor or backdoor straight draw or flush draw, I could see him floating. So if she were to go super small, maybe like 6K or something, she might have gotten value from a hand like Jack 8. Well, she blocks Jack 8, but maybe a hand like, certainly Jack 9, King Jack, definitely. Maybe even a hand like Jack 7 of spades might have floated. So I think, and also some ace highs. Like if the big blind had like ace deuce of diamonds, maybe would call one straight here, one small c bet of like 5 or 6K. But she checks. Also, another reason I do like her c-betting the flop is because there's just a lot of bad turn cards for her. Pocket eights is a strong pair, but there are a lot of overcards that make her hand a little bit more vulnerable. So like if a king rolled on the turn and the big blind bet, then she's now having to make the decision, right? Like he's now putting her to the test where she should put him to the test on the flop. So check, check again, and she rivers a boat. Check. Definitely hope she bets her value, which she does. She goes 12K. I think this is a really good size. I think it's a pretty evident that he doesn't have too much that he can call with. And I apologize that I'm assuming it's a he. It could definitely be a she. So let's just say he, she, they, whatever you want to call it. I think that a 12K bet might get some hero calls from some ace highs. I don't think that she has anything to worry about being beat. Like, I definitely don't think that he's got like queen 10 or queen 8 or queen 7 or anything, because there were no bets put in on any straight here. So good size, gets the call from the 7. Very well played. Okay, so ace jack offsuit here in the cutoff, 22 big blinds effective, and the under the gun player goes all in for 31K. So 31K is only 5 big blinds, right? Because the big blind is 6K here. So I definitely think that she should do something here. Trying to see. So I think she could either flat or... Let me think about this. Because the small blind, big blind, and the button all are 22 big blinds effective, as is she. I think that she can shove at some frequency. I think that if she was on the button and the hijack and the cutoff had folded, I think that she can shove the button, because she does have a hand with removal, and she doesn't want to just incentivize the blinds to come in for the call as well. And so I think that because she blocks a lot of their snap calls, if she was on the button, I could see her shoving. The cutoff here, it's close. I could see her shoving from the cutoff as well, but I'd rather her have been on the button. So I think a flat here is fine. So she flats and they fold, and she takes it down. Okay, so here we have another hand. She has pocket sixes under the gun, 25 bigs effective, and she min raises. So again, because this is a 6-handed table, I think a min raise is fine. 9-handed, I would definitely fold if I were her. So fold to the small blind, and the big blind, they both flat. 10-8 deuce, check, check, and check. I like this. I think that, because the small and big only have 14 big blinds behind, I don't want to see her bet and then have them shove on her. Unless she were to go really small. Like if she were to go like maybe 10K here, then I could see her like maybe folding to a shove, but I think that she should probably just try and check this down. But this is a close one, because now she just has to fold. So I'm wondering if she should have just bet small on the flop here. Yeah, I think that she probably should have just bet small on the flop, now that I'm thinking about it, because now she's just, again, there's just no good turn cards for her. And if she bet 10K on the flop, then she could fold to a shove. And now she just has to fold her hand. So, yep. All right, so I think, probably just c-bet the flop here. All right, so here we have pocket tens in the big blind. She is 25 bigs effective, 24 bigs. Button min raises to 19.5, a little over min raise, and then the small blind shoves for 129. I definitely think that she should be shoving here. She is just crushing the small blind's range. I like that the small blind shoved over the button open with a hand like ace 10, because it blocks a lot of his snap calls, blocks our chances of having something strong, and I do think that it's too strong to fold, but she's not deep enough to play it as a flat. So I think the ace 10 definitely makes for a good shove, and it's a shame for the ace 10 that my student here in the big blind woke up with a hand. Okay, so here she has ace queen off in the big blind. Blinds are 4K, 8K, and she is 30 big blinds effective. It folds to the small blind, who decides to limp with 15 big blinds now behind, and she min raises to 16. I like this. I think she should go a little bit bigger, but I do like that she's just min raising, or like, I like that she didn't just shove, because shoving is just maximizing her fold equity, and she's going to get so many folds from the small blind when she does shove, that she wants to like min raise or just raise a little bit to induce. She wants to induce a call, and even better, induce a shove, because if the small blind is a decent poker player, then he or she is going to know that she should have some limp calls, some limp folds, and some limp shoves in the small blind. So I do like that my student here is going, is min raising, but I probably would have gone a little bit bigger, maybe a 3x, maybe a 2.5x, just because the small blind is 15 big blinds behind. Small blind calls, check, and she bets 18K. So now I think that I would probably check. And the reason for this is the small blind only has 14 bigs, and so the small blind has to play very, very honestly. If the small blind doesn't connect with this, then they're just going to fold a lot. And because she blocks top pair, it's less likely that the small blind has an ace. And even if the small blind did have if the small blind had a strong ace, I can see them limp shoving pre-flop a lot, even with some of their weaker aces as well. So I think checking back would probably be the play. It's not going to take 3 streets for my student to size her bets where the small blind is going to stack off. So like she can afford checking back the flop, and then if the small blind bets the turn, then she could call or shove the turn. Or if the small blind checks, then she could put in a bet on the turn. And if the small blind calls, then the small blind's going to be priced in to call off a lot of rivers. So that's what I'm saying. Like she can check back, because it's not going to take 3 streets to get the small blind stack in. But I can also see her c-betting small. She should definitely bet smaller here, like maybe 1 big blind, maybe 8K or 10K or something, because she does want the small blind to call with some of her king combos or 8 combos, or if she just like c-bet 1 big blind, then the small blind might even check shove some of her, like his or her weak like backdoor draws or something, or maybe even a hand like pocket fives. So but the small blind folds, and but it's always good to take down a pot without having to get to showdown, so especially on a flush draw board. All right, so here she has 6-7 off in the big blind. The blinds are 6K, 12K. She's 20 big blinds effective, and the hijack min raises to 12K. Note the hijack is only 9 big blinds effective now. 11 to start the hand, but 9 big blinds now. She defends. I think I'd probably call the 1 big blind too, and then just check shove or just open shove anytime she flops a pair here, because the hijack only has 9 big blinds. So if I were her, I would just rip it here. She doesn't want it to go check, and now like she's obviously if she shoves here, she's got like no fold equity here, whereas like if the hijack just like decided to if she checked and the hijack decided to c-bet a hand like queen jack, now when she shoves here in the big blind, the hijack is just going to be priced in and now has decent equity, like six clean outs essentially to hit their overcards. Whereas if the big blind here just open shipped, then the hijack would just fold a hand like queen jack at some frequency. So I would just rather see her just open shove the flop here. Okay, and here we have ace king off in the small blind. The blinds are 10K, 20K with a 2K ante. She is 25 big blinds effective. Hijack raises to 45K, and she min raises here. So if I were her, I would just open rip with 25 bigs to start the hand. You don't want, like, the hijack is just going to be priced into call with any two. Like, I'm noticing a pattern here. She's just min raising a lot with her three bets, and especially when you're out of position, like guaranteed to be out of position in the small blind, you don't want to just min raise and give the hijack just an auto call and position too. So I think that she should just open rip here. It also looks bluffier, and the hijack calls, and she bets 100. She bets 100K, 106K, and a 172. So I think she should be going smaller here. Again, because of her stack size, like, she could go smaller. It's not going to take her 3 streets to get her stack in if she sizes her bet sizes appropriately. And she's blocking top pair, so she should go smaller to get value from some 9 combos, 10s, even a hand like pocket 8s. Like, pocket 8s is going to have to fold a lot to this sizing. So if she were to go like 45K, 50K, then she's going to get some more lighter calls here. So hijack folds, and she takes it down. All right, everyone, that wraps up the hand review of the later stages of the tournament. As always, thank you for watching, and please give me a shout out on social media if you did like this video. My TikTok is at PokerClarity, and my Instagram and Twitter are Lexy Gavin Poker. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.